Okay, so I'm doing a video today because I am making a bridal bouquet for my daughter's wedding. She wanted some colors, she wanted some vintage pins, so I've got a nice mix of them here. I want to start by saying I went online to try to get some information on the best way to do it, and I took that information and I made a couple of bouquets, and it took me forever. So one day I was in my garage and I was twisting wire onto my brooches, and my brother came by, and I was doing them by hand because I really didn't know any other way. So took my wires, which is actually a trick. What the point of my video is, I want to show you some tricks so that it's a lot easier for you to make your brooch bouquets and a lot more pleasurable. First, you want to start by taking your wire. You definitely want a 22 gauge at least. The higher the number, the thinner the wire. I've actually got my gold in a 24 gauge, but I've got to do 3 versus the 2 with 22 gauge. So just keep that in mind as you purchase your wire. Okay, so cut them. These I've cut to, I want to say they're 26 inches, they are. And I actually have cut them shorter considering how I want my bouquet, the length of my bouquet handle. So these were there. We took off about 3 inches. Depends on how long you want the handle on your bouquet. So what I found was the easiest thing to do is just to cut a whole bunch of wires. So I made a whole pile of them, and then I fold them in half. Right in the center, give them a nice little tight pinch, and then you're basically ready to go. You're ready to put the wires onto your brooches, which is the most difficult part of this. Although purchasing your brooches is also a risky, a tricky business. I actually started getting my brooches wherever I could find them. I was going to flea markets and garage sales and picking them up online and vintage shops and Goodwill and Salvation Army and all those good places. So I was getting them relatively inexpensive, but I was getting them like 1, 2 at a time. So it was really not effective, not efficient. So I went online, found this fantastic website, fancybrooches.com. I've actually been in touch, and I am Facebook friends with Saul at Fancy Brooches, and I purchased the most beautiful brooches from him. So that took away all the anxiety of having to go out there and search them down. The prices are super reasonable, pretty comparable to what I was paying, except I don't have to pay gas to get my brooches. They come right to my door, and I get this box filled with all these gorgeous things. I'll show you. And it's just, a lot of these are gone because they are used, but it's just like Christmas when I get them. And he's got all different sizes and shapes, and they're just really beautiful. So here's just a couple that I've done. Put a little light so they sparkle nice. So you've cut them, you bent them in half. Now you want to put them on. You want to make sure that your pin in the back is closed. You can actually remove them. It's pretty easy if you really feel compelled to take those off. I use my bigger wire cutter and just snip them. I leave them on. They don't bother me. Once everything is done, it's not a problem at all. So you start with your first one. You slip it through where it's going to be hidden. And there's typically, every one for the most part has a place where that top of the wire is going to be really well hidden. And then you just cross over. Everything I do, I twist clockwise. Give it a couple with your finger, just enough so it's on there. And then get your plier. Got a flat plier, and I go in really tight to the top so that the wire doesn't slip on the brooch. You want it to be nice and snug. And what I was doing originally was this, and then I would take my fingers and I would spin it the whole way down, and they were just, it was a pain in the neck. My arm hurt. It was just awful. So my brother Sebastian came over. I'll do one more for you, set it up for you, and then I'll show you the best part of this project. You might have to bother your boyfriend or girlfriend or husband and get a piece of his, steal one of his tools. Okay, so I've got it on one side. I don't know why this little brooch is being a pain in the neck here. They're usually not. I don't know why this one is. But it's slipping out. So I'm going to get it back in there and just make sure it stays securely in place. Then put another one on the opposite side, obviously. You want them to be nice and tight. And again, twist it, a couple of good twists with your fingers. And then you get your plier and really tighten that up top, tight to that brooch. You don't want the head, you don't want that brooch to be rocking. You want it to be nice and secure when you're done. Okay, so that feels good. Just smooth them down a little bit. Again, everything I do is clockwise. It's just easier for me. You might want everything to go counterclockwise. Just make sure everything is spinning in the same direction. I have both. They feel nice and secure. Cross them over at the top. Twist it a little bit, maybe a ½ inch. You've twisted by hand and with your plier. And then just cross them at the top again, counterclockwise. Give them a couple of good twists. Get your plier again because you want the top to be nice and tight. But not too tight. You have to be careful. I actually bent a couple of brooch tops, just making it too tight, so be careful. A couple more little twists, and then just smooth them down. Here's the part I like. I am crazy with this project with tape. So you're gonna need tape. You're gonna need a lot of tape. I went to the dollar store, got like literally 6 rolls of tape for $1. Put a piece of tape along the top of your wires so that they're all securely fastened. I know it seems like a pain in the neck, but I'm telling you, it makes the project so much easier in the long run. Now, here's the best part. Power tools. So I wanted to borrow my husband's, but it was like super crazy. So I went out and I invested in a little wireless, the thing is, or whatever they're called, cordless. And it's perfect. It's a 9.6 volt. It has plenty of power. It stays on really long. So you want to open, I'm not even sure what this is called. I know this is where the drill goes into it. The drill itself just sticks in there and then you tighten it up. But my brother came over and he said, Judy, you have to stop doing what you're doing. So he brought me his. This one's mine, like I said. And then you just take the end. You want to stick it in there maybe a ½ inch. Make sure that that end is all the way open, or open enough so that it fits. And then just turn it towards you. Tighten it up. Nice and tight. I had it open a lot. It's usually not open that much. And then just hold your brooch and give it a couple little tweaks. And that's it. You're good to go. Open this back up. And make sure after you do it, every single time after you spin it, open it up. Don't leave it partially open. You don't want to be going, oh, is it open? Is it not open? It's just a pain in the neck. So make sure it's all the way open. And then when you tuck it back in, you just twist it towards you every single time. Boom, boom, and you're good to go. So that's your pin. You know what? This is really bothering me, this pin at the top. I don't know why it's being so difficult. So I'm going to take it off. Show you how easy it is with the big boop, gone, just like that. That's with the bigger plier. I use the smaller plier to snip the wire, and the bigger one for things like this and for, you know, other things like that. But look, super strong, really awesome. It's not bending when I put it in. It'll conform exactly to what I want it to conform to. I'm actually going to take this little nip off here, and that's gone. So the entire pin is gone from the top of the brooch, and it's perfect. Love it. So I have all these here. Really, really, you just want to just do everything repetitively. Cut, 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 cut. All your wires, just get a nice pile of them. Bend, 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 bend. All your wires, get a nice pile of bent wires. And then you just want to do them. I'll do one more. I don't want this to be lengthy because the ones I watched were so lengthy it was a pain in the neck. This pin is a little bit different. It's got a little a little scoop in it. So instead of having, the other one had that thing where it turns and it kept popping out. This, I just tweak these down tight. That's not going anywhere. Again, you want your plier, snippers, tons of Scotch tape. I'll show you why later. And your wires. Again, 22 gauge. All right, so here's the ones I've already bent. And you just open it up enough. Look for a good couple of good spots on here. I'm going to go right between here. Slip it right in. Give it a couple of twists with your fingers. 1, 2, 3. Get that nice flat plier so you can get that tightened up nice. On the top, my wire is sticking. I put everything really tight for the camera so it's really tight, but you don't want to do that. When you do it, make sure you have room. Everything is spread out. This table is usually covered. My husband and son have to eat dinner up at the counter. Sorry, guys. So, I actually have a couple of bouquets here that I've been working on. Sold a couple of them also, actually quite a few. They're pretty hot if you want to do it as a little bit of a business. So, okay, again, slip it through. Couple of twists with your fingers. Get your plier. Boop. Nice and snug at the top. Usually takes about 3 or 4 good spins. And then you just straighten them all down. Straighten them down. You want to cross your clockwise. Again, a couple of good spins with your fingers. And you want to like slide your finger down while you're twisting. You want to just keep sliding it down so that it's nice and even. Hope you guys can see that. And then a couple little twists at the top so it's sitting nicely, nice and snug up into the back of the pin. Again, straight down. And tape. Tape at the end. I'm going to show you really another amazing trick that I do so that when I'm setting everything in place on the flowers, see this is open, I don't have to worry about it. Tuck it in, maybe 1/2 inch. Twist towards me, I went the wrong way for a second. It's a little distracting, this camera. And then just super tight. Hold your pin nice and tight. Couple good shots. I don't know why I have this tendency to like twist it at the end. I feel like it's like bing, the final whatever. I don't know. I do it every time. Like you're done. Tweak. Okay. So that's another one. Perfect, perfect, perfect. You can't spin these by hand. I actually had a couple that I spun by hand and I wanted to show you guys, but I can't find them. I probably, oh, here's one. Here's one. Oh, here's one. How's this? It was a nightmare. And I probably spun a couple of dozen this way by hand. It's just a nightmare. So invest in these amazing little things. This is a Ryobi. I got it at like Home Depot. I want to say it cost me like $40. It was nothing. It was not much, but worth every single penny. Okay, good. I'm glad that was in there. All right, so listen, that's like the biggest trick that you really want to know. And something else to think about before you start your brooch bouquet, if you have like a lot of brooches, which I had so many, when I first started, I was so consumed with these beautiful brooches that I was like, oh, look at this one, so pretty. And oh my gosh, that one's so pretty. It took forever. So I said, here's what I need. Here's a small, relatively small bouquet. This one has, I want to say 15. I think it's like 17 actually. But I picked them all out in advance so I wasn't distracted. Put them all in the same location, done, boom, 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 you're spinning again. Cutting, folding, spinning into whatever you're putting them into. All right, so now that kind of brings me to next step, which is you want to pick your flowers. Hobby Lobby, I am completely addicted to Hobby Lobby. Michael's Arts and Crafts, of course, but at Hobby Lobby just opened by us, so they can't keep me out of there. All right, so now you've got everything is ready to go into your flower. Pick your flower. My daughter wanted roses for hers, so the top of hers is roses, and it was really a pain in the neck, I have to say, because the roses are, you know, relatively large, and to get the brooches in there, really pack them in there, is really a little bit more difficult than going with something like a hydrangea. It's perfect. This one's very big hydrangeas. There are smaller flower hydrangeas, which are really nice because they're tight, but the girls that I'm making these for wanted the loose big hydrangeas. All right, so this does not have a whole lot of pins in it at this point. I kept it this way because I wanted to show you guys another trick, which is so important. And if you can see these things, I'm like throwing them around. It's like no big deal. This one's completely done. I don't even know how many pins are on here. Super, super packed. They're not going anywhere. When she's ready, her wedding day, literally it'll be in a nice box wrapped in a little tissue paper, go right out to her. We won't have to worry about anything slipping, sliding, falling, anything like that. So the trick here, dollar store tape, we'll just pull a pin, is to, you put them in anywhere you want. Again, the hydrangea, the best. Position it wherever you want it to be. This one's actually pretty nicely spaced, so we'll put one in here in the hydrangea. What I do is I give it a little bend right up at the top. Give it a nice little bend, tuck it in, make sure the height is good. If not, slip it up a little bit. And then I sit it on the handle. A little bit more of a bend. Now, super, super important, and my tape is on this nice thing because it's a pain in the neck on the roll, and you're pulling and it's just a pain in the neck. And then you want to hit this really up high with your tape so that that pin stays exactly where you put it. So just tape it nice and high, and then hit it again, a little bit lower. And it doesn't matter, you don't have to space these, you don't have to the same spot. The more tape you put on here, the better. It keeps it nice and tight. It actually makes your handle a little bit thicker too, so it's nice. And they don't move around, they're not shifting. When you're ready at the very end, you want to make sure that they're all sitting properly, so you can literally reach in and bend those pins and nothing is moving because the handle is so secure. The more pins you put on, the more secure it becomes because every single stem is taped onto the bottom. This has so much tape on here, I can't even begin to tell you. This is pure Scotch tape, and then at the very end, I hit the entire handle with one even row of Scotch tape. Super, super, super important. I didn't see that on any of the tutorials that I saw. I'm going to move on to, so you know that, right? Tuck it in, tape, tape, tape. Everything is secure. Really important. Now handles, it's totally preference. This particular one, she wanted leaves. So we got the nice soft leaves. I actually got those at Michael's Arts and Crafts. They're frocked, I believe it's called. They're actually super soft. They're really sweet. So I put the bottom is the bridal plastic that they have. It had, I believe it was lace all around it. I cut that off, didn't really care for that at all, and then just glued the leaves right to the inside of the handle. Just hot glue gun, gotta have your hot glue gun, and then slip that up. She wanted green. It was important for her to have green on her handle. This isn't really finished. I'm going to hit this with 2 more leaves, but we took some leaves and just glued those right onto there. I mean, it's so secure. Nothing is going anywhere. And the look is really nice with the leaves. I actually really kind of prefer it that way. I won't be putting that on Allie's. She doesn't want any leaves on hers. Hers is literally a ball. So it looks nice. And then I wrapped the ribbon straight up the handle. Hot glue gun again. Just a little touch of hot glue gun, touch of hot glue gun, touch of hot glue gun. It's a little bit of a pain in the neck, but it's super secure and nothing is going anywhere. And then on this, I actually took a couple of little Swarovski crystals and just glued those on here and there in little places just for a little extra bling because of the